Hey guys, so now we are officially going to get into the topic of doing BHOPs, okay? Before I start getting into the demonstrations, I do want to show you a couple of maps that you can go to for practicing them first before you start trying to do them in ranked, okay? Just a little thing about BHOPs. BHOPs are game-changing and game-breaking at the same time because they are in a way called considered an exploit. Some people argue saying that it's not, but I'm going to straight up tell you, I don't care what they say, it is. Because when you're able to do a air roll where you're able to air roll into a position where you can jump into a side flip and it repeats the same maximum speed you have all the way to the end, to me that's an exploit. I'm sorry. It's and Slingshots and mag flips are an exploit to some extent, but they are a lot easier to do. They don't take days or even weeks or months of practice to get down perfectly. They're a lot more doable, but they are not completely game breaking in a way. But B-hops can be. It can change the whole. It can change the whole thing when somebody does their race. Somebody that does them at a pro level, they will completely shatter former world records easily if they are a pro at B-hops, and that's just the truth. So with that, before we start getting into me demonstrating them for you, I want to show you a couple of maps. So when you go down to, oh, actually no, not here. When you're in the main spot here, you just go down to where, see where it says rock racing and all that. You go down. You can do a search, discover. The first person that made a training map that was useful that people were using for practicing B-hops was ReinPika. He gave the first map that people were using. It's this one here. So you got to look for Rocket Racing Training Pack, okay? That is one you can use. That's the code for it right there on the right. I personally thought it was great at the time, but there's another creator that made another training map called Spunz. So when you go do the search, you type in Spun. I think you just type in Spun. His name is Spunz, but you just type in Spun, and it'll pop up. But I think you have to kind of search, because in the search you have to kind of scroll down. So you select islands, you go down, you got to keep going all the way down until you see Rocket Racing. Where is it? No, not here. Oh, Rocket Racing Training Map. So the Rocket Racing Training Map right here is probably a better one in my personal preference. So here's a demo of what Spunz does. You can do front tire B-hops and rear tire B-hops, and that is Spunz performing that right there. He made this map specific for this to practice. It's a long stretch straightaway, and you can practice and do them. That's a rear tire B-hop, but what it does is when you do them fast enough repeatedly and you do them or even with turbo, you just basically keep the same speed. I'm going to go into a little bit about that when I go into the demo, but I just kind of want to throw it out there that these two maps that I mentioned. One is by ReinPika, one is for Spun. They are excellent maps to practice on. But I highly recommend this one. Not taking anything away from ReinPika. It was great at the time when he had his, but when Spun came out with his, it is a flat surface, no grass that kind of interferes the landing timing. So this one is just straight road on a straightaway. So I really like Spun's map. So I usually select that one and use that. There is another map that you can use in speed run as well if you want, or even in ranked if you want to do like private races or like ranked races, not ranked, just regular races or speed run. So if you want to try a few maps that you can do, one of them is Bone Cavern, and you can even do Bone Cavern 2. So there's Bone Cavern right here, that's Bone Cavern 1, and then I believe in the advanced section here, I think somewhere here you can find Bone Cavern 2. Let me see. I know it's got to be here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, so there's Bone Cavern 2 in the advanced section. They have long straightaways where you can practice. So if you do speed run, you can definitely use Bone Cavern 1 or Bone Cavern 2 as practice for long straightaways. But if you want to really kind of get a long-term speed run practice session, you can use ReinPika's for a big open grassy area, or you can use Spun's for the long straightaway, which me personally I prefer because he puts a lot of boost pads on his road. So going over that, those are a few maps you can use. Okay, so I wanted to go over that first before I started getting into the demonstrations and talking more about it. Okay, so with that being said, now we're going to continue on to the demo.